Oh yeah, sexy biscuits. Nice.
Long boys blues, 1975. Using girls on the rise. Reviewing games late at night and sometimes friends. But Long boys blues, 1975.
Pretty much, sadly, this is all the music we're going to get, and it's 48K music, which is a little bit disappointing, because I would have loved to hear the Star Wars music, or the Star Wars rendition title sequence by John Williams on the 128K. Anyway, welcome to another ZX Spectrum versus Commodore 64 comparison video, as I like to call it, Playground Wars. In this video, we'll be taking a look at this game, Star Wars Arcade, based on the arcade machine released by Atari in 1983. If you're of my generation or my age, then this will be, you will remember that arcade machine as pretty much the greatest thing you'd ever seen in your life at that point. And to a large number of us, it stayed with us as, you know, our favourite arcade cabinet of all time. It's a vector graphic arcade machine. I don't know why I'm explaining this, you must know this, depicting some of the space battles from Star Wars. It's the first of 3 games by Atari. Now, why am I doing this comparison video when I've compared Star Wars to pretty much everything? Well, I haven't compared Star Wars on the Spectrum directly to Star Wars on the Commodore 64. I have compared it to Star Strike, and Star Strike came out, you know, nearer the arcade than this version did, which is obviously done by Domark. And to many people, it is a better version of Star Wars than Star Wars. Seriously. Better graphics, tighter controls, and just all around, you know, buttery, milky goodness. Now, obviously, this was released in 1987, I want to say, by Domark on all the usual suspects: Spectrum, Amstrad, Commodore, Amiga, and Atari ST. The Amiga and Atari ST versions, I'd imagine, at least the Amiga version I've seen, are pretty much arcade perfect. But we're interested in the Spectrum and the Commodore 64, because that's how we got to play the true home port of Star Wars back in the day. Oh, that's right, it's published by Domark, but written by Vector Graphics. Now, they did release all 3 games on the home computers, Domark, and then they released them as a Star Wars trilogy big cardboard box, you know, compilation, which to this day I wish I actually bought. Right, so we want to go with 5, redefine. Now, I'm not gonna change them yet, but I don't know if you're inverted. But the good thing about playing on keys is to invert them, you just select up is down. Ha! I know. Anyway, we'll see what it does. Left, right. Now, also a big thank you to Dean Swain of Retro Asylum, because as much as I've been putting off doing this, because as much as I wanted to do a comparison version, I've only ever managed to find the version, hence a gameplay I did years, like 5 years ago on my channel, of Star Wars on the Spectrum that doesn't have any sound effects in game. And it may not sound like a big deal, but if we're going to put these 2 machines against each other, we need every, you know, weapon at our disposal on the Spectrum front. Now, what I will say also is we're not really comparing controls too much, because the Spectrum's going to wipe the floor with the Commodore, simply because in this video I'll be playing on the Commodore 64 Mini, and therefore I have to play it on that god-awful joystick. But we want to see how it looks, how it sounds, you know, how it feels, and all that stuff. I mean, controls are important, but like I said, you know, as good as the controls will be on the Commodore, they won't be anywhere near as good as this, because I'm on keys. You know, it's a no-brainer. Right, anyway, let's get into it. Would be nice to have some sampled speeds, but there you go. Oh, look, there you go. That's actually moderately impressive. You know, vector graphics on Spectrum. Actually, Spectrum did a lot of vector graphic games, and it came out really quite well. But anyway, as I said, OCD portion of my channel aside, they now conclude the all 3 Star Wars games head-to-head on Commodore and Spectrum. Maybe I'll even make a separate playlist. Anyway, Obi-Wan Kenobi is the scroll from the arcade. Your wave top right, your scroll top left, and your shield's in the middle, just like the arcade. And the colours are accurate. Obi-Wan Kenobi is gone, but his presence is felt within the Force. Lucky I read that bit next, quickly, eh? The Empire's Death Star, under the command of Darth Vader, nears the rebel planet. You must join the rebellion to stop the Empire and watch Biggs die. Right, so there we go. Fire. And it is inverted. Nice touch there, Domark. Right, we'll go with wave 1. That's accurate. Now, I think the graphics in this look really, really sharp, like really sharp. Your fireballs are the same colour as the enemies, or the Atari's fireballs are the same colour as them. Now, here, look, notice, right, if I let my finger off fire, anyone? Oh, I've got to lock onto it. Yeah, nice and quick. Hold down fire and, you know, it slows down. I mean, there's not a massive amount going on the screen at once. Be interesting to see whether it does that on the Commodore version. I'm pretty sure it did on the Commodore version of Empire, which I've already done. But yeah, it's not a massive amount going on the screen at once, and it can't be that vector graphics is too intensive, because, well, it's not a gameplay comparison to that. I mean, I've done that video if you want to see it. Star Strike didn't seem to have any problem. But again, I was more than happy with this as a kid. I preferred Star Strike. I'll shut up about that in a minute. But this was, you know, the proper coat of paint that made it look like Star Wars. See, look, right, so nothing on the screen, and my turbo lasers absolutely piss out. Stuff on the screen. That's really nice and sharp, that Death Star, isn't it? Yeah, see, nothing. Oh, then stuff on the screen. So, believe it or not, as simple as the sound is, you know, the crunchy explosions and stuff like that. I've stopped firing because I'm cutting across the axis to draw the fire. See what I did there? Oh, that's really, really nice. That's really, really nice. I'm having trouble shooting their lasers. Ah, it's a bit. There's still slowdown, not as bad as Space, but it's a bit, well, as I move around, it's a bit juddery. But, you know, all things considered, this is a very nice example of vector graphics on the humble old Specky, because think about it, 48K. And anyway, as I said, the sound may be incredibly limited, but it definitely adds to the experience just to have sound in a Star Wars game. No true 1:8K version is a bit poor because it's 1987, and that would have been lovely. Could have some less tinny, crunchy sound effects as well. How many shields I got left? 2. That's all you can do about there are 2. Even though you're black, because the blue screen didn't work in Space properly. Look it up. It's in Empire of Dreams. Right, where's this bloody hole? Every hole a goal. And we're not going to make it. That's going to be embarrassing. Ooh, oh! I don't remember there being that on the Spectrum. Is this a slightly different version because it's got added a sound effect again? I just remember you shooting the floor with your regular turbo lasers. Oh, that's cool. That's very cool. Right, Death Star destroyed. Think of all the poor innocent people on there. Yes, I know it's in Clerks, but it's true. I'm pretty sure you didn't have a stormtrooper wearing a helmet serving people, you know, like in the canteen and shit. Maybe you did. I should just get a white stick. I've only got 2 shields. Oh dear. You know what? It's no Star Strike. Okay, and I'll shut up about that because we're not really comparing that game. But it's very nice looking. The vectors are very sharp and crisp. Tasty and delicious. That was lucky. Now I can't remember what comes next. You got the bits you shoot along the floor, or is it the towers? Or dependent upon the difficulty setting you've got, does it mix it up? There isn't a whole lot of, you know, variation in this, but nor is there in the arcade. That's Dart's tie. That's Dad's tie. Yeah. That's the real reason Luke hates Dart. He never let him take his wheels out. Right. Oh! Yeah, the slowdown's weird. Like I said, I don't know. But I'm like, you know what? This is pretty decent. This is pretty nice. From what I can remember, the slowdown in this is equal to the slowdown like there was on the Empire, on the Spectrum, as well as the Commodore. Right, shoot fireballs. You don't have to keep telling me that. I am aware that they do damage based on me looking at my shields. Here we go. So that's obviously Dart's tie, and it won't let me shoot it. Which is kind of accurate, because his tie Advance had shields, but regular ties don't. That's how much the Empire cared about its Air Force. There we go. Lasers have gone red to match the background because it's these things. Not many of them, is there? Yoink! So their firepower is fire. Lasers are also red now. Lasers! do you know what? This is a decent version of Star Wars. I would have been more than happy with this, and I was more than happy with this as a kid, but I'm not going to say it, you know what I mean, because I keep saying it. Oh, yeah. Yoink. I think this is a weaker game. I know why in the arcade it was preferred over Empire, but I think this is a weaker game compared to Empire, I really do, and I think Jedi's weaker than both of them, but I don't know, maybe they couldn't do inside the Death Star in wireframes. Maybe they should have got a white stick. Right, that firing sound's starting to get a tad monotonous. Ooh, shooty. No, sorry, hiccups. Space does that to me. Bear in mind, you're thinking this is a bit easy. It's because it's on key, so it's super sharp, and also it's on easy. It does exactly what it says on the tin. Way. Catwalks. Oh yeah, we're on level 2. Oh, this is where it gets. I wouldn't want to know how I would be able to do this on the Commodore version. This is really impressive because I don't know. It doesn't seem to be slowing down that much. Maybe it's because we're in a confined area. This is super impressive. Yeah, there's no way I'd be able to do this. I don't know if I'll get that far yet on the Commodore version because of how god awful the joystick is. You wait till you see later on when it gets really, really hard. I.e., watch someone else play this game. What it does with the catwalks. It goes absolutely mental. Yoink, come on. Oh, shield, go on. Right. Yeah, this is it. This is brilliant. It's Star Wars Arcade. This is a really, really, really nice version. I really like how sharp the vectors are. Let's have a look at the Commodore 64 version. Okay, that was pretty cool. I completely forgot there was speech in this version of the game. Anyway, this is Star Wars running on the Commodore 64. Now, let's see what this looks like. First of all, I mean, was it ever in doubt that there was going to be an amazing SID chip version of Star Wars? Obviously, it wins on that front. But to be fair, I would have thought the SID chip could do a far better version of that music track than it does. Anyway, that's me splitting hairs. Let's get into it and see how it plays. Anyway, so we're going to have pretty much, there we go. Oh, it's not an inverted, and it's on the C64 Mini, so this is going to end in tears. Fire there. Right, just like the Spectrum version. Right, let go. It slows down when you fire. I don't know what that is. I mean, as I mentioned in the first half of this video, when I played 3D Star Strike on the Spectrum, there's no slowdown in that, and that chucks around stuff that makes this look rather poor. Yoink! Now, the other thing I will say is, well, obviously it's just wireframe, you know, vector graphics and stuff like that. If only I could invert the fire! Actually, I can. I can just turn the joystick upside down, can I? We'll try that in a minute, providing I can't get to it. I mean, I would have been totally happy with this as a kid, you know, because it totally feels and looks like the arcade. I mean, obviously, the vector graphics are very, very crude compared to that. And they're obviously crude on the Spectrum, but there's no denying the vectors are a lot sharper on the Spectrum than they are on here. This is awful with this joystick. That's Darth Tie. Did I shoot Darth Tie? Right. Going in. Here goes nothing. Oh, that's from Return of the Jedi, isn't it? I mean the Atari Return of the Jedi. I mean, wins points. There's no speech on the Spectrum version. There we go. Sorry, I thought I had sound effects to you. Yeah, it's a lot sharper and better on the Spectrum. I would probably argue that the colour, that's cool. The colour is better on this one. Now, because we're in the confines of the trench, then it suddenly speeds up and goes a lot faster. I've just flipped the joystick. Let's try that again. Of course, now... Right, hang on. Yeah. That should be better. Yoink! Yeah, when you're in open space, The slowdown is horrific. I mean, there's slowdown on the Spectrum, but I don't know if it's balls aching as shit as this. But, and also, yeah, like I said, there's not a lot in it, but the vectors are far sharper defined on the Spectrum version. It's funny I say that because while this is the last game in this series, the Star Wars trilogy, that I am playing in the Spectrum versus Commodore, it's shite and I should have had that one videos. I can remember recalling at the end of when I played Empire that the Spectrum had far sharper vectrics there than it did here. On the Commodore, I mean. We got sound. We got sound that I suppose is better than the Spectrum version. But, you know. Wow, who knew that flipping your joystick would make such a difference? See, that's me thinking on my feet. That's me using the Force. You're firing twice, you cheeky sumbitch. But like I said, I would have been more than happy to have had this as the conversion of, you know, my favourite then arcade machine. Well, that was quite late, wasn't it? Was it 1989? Did I say that at the start of the video? I can't remember. There's another version that's actually made by Atari that I can fire up on this and other emulators, and then it starts, and then it just pauses and won't let me control it, so I can't progress. So I've always wondered what that version was like. Why is it so hard to shoot these things? It is. I've got 2 shields left. Do I have to avoid them? I think I've got to avoid them. Weird, I can't seem to shoot them. Which means I'm totally going to miss the exhaust port. Just going to stay here. Look, they're firing above me. Ah, stupid. Ooh! Bollocks. Right, one more go. I don't remember the trench being that. I haven't played this on the Commodore for bloody years, but ooh. So now we know to avoid them when we get to the trench. We're probably not going to see much more than this in the trench, but it does give you an indication of what the graphics are like, i.e. sharper on the Spectrum. I think the main problem with the trench, as I said, is it's so difficult, or you haven't got time like to, I guess, to shoot them properly, or they definitely were getting hit because it's so quick, because you're in such a confined area. Right, so he goes white when I shoot him, Darth Tie. Doesn't mean you can't destroy Darth Tie, but it's letting me know that it's registering a hit. Right, oh, this joystick is killing my hand. Just as well, bloody, you know, X-Wings didn't have this joystick in there, or, well, basically, we wouldn't have got off the first movie. But hey, look on the bright side, that means there would have been no Kathleen Kennedy fucking stains. Right. Oh. Now, obviously, I'll say this. Star Strike, 3D Star Strike 1 and 2 weren't on the Commodore 64. But, for a better version of Star Wars than Star Wars, at least on the Spectrum, get 3D Star Strike. And live like a king. I mean, you can move around the starfield, that's kind of cool. You're not constantly flying towards the same location of the Death Star, if you know what I mean. There we go. I'll try and draw the fire. I'll try and draw Garfield. See what I did there? Oh my god, what are you going to do when the catwalks kick in? Apart from obviously let them find your face quite quickly and quite a lot and die. Right. Basically, I'm Porkins. That's how long I'm going to last. Remember him? Ooh. Right. This cat, if anyone, because I haven't played this in ages, and I've certainly not played it on my C64 Mini. I accidentally loaded the tape version, so I loaded it in real time, so it took bloody ages. But, yeah, I'm sure you could shoot the fireballs, but then it might just be me using this god-awful joystick, and, yeah, not being able to use the Force. Yep, this works. They're too small for our turbo lasers. Yeah. Oh, that's cool. Okay, that's cool. Points for that. And that. Something very Atari 2600 about that. Which is good. Death Star destroyed. We'll have a quick go with the rest of these lives. Right, Death Star destroyed. Bonus for the remaining shields. Add one to deflect the shield. Right, they're obviously going to step up now. And it's slowed down a lot more. I mean, it's not a massive amount of difference between the slowdown. I would say this is worse. But, yeah, obviously, definitely sharper. I'm not saying, you know, it's like comparing a PlayStation 1 to a PlayStation 2 game, visually, but definitely sharper. Again, like, yeah, you can move the Death Star around in the background, but yeah, definitely sharper, you know, vectors or, you know, crafts than, you know, on the Spectrum than on the Commodore. Get some of that in your life. Right, ow, 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 ow. Now, what's the arcade? I forget. You know, the arcade manufacturers that just make Turtles and all the Street Fighter stuff and things like that. Haven't they done Star Wars? I mean, it's too expensive, and they're more expensive in this country than they are in North America. Those cabinets, but I don't know. If I ever want a scratch card or something, I'd totally get a Star Wars card. It's got all 3 games on, I believe, but it has been pretty much my favourite arcade card since I was a kid. Could argue very limited gameplay and probably other cabs you should own and stuff like that. Maybe, you know, Outrun and stuff like that. But full sit-down original Star Wars arcade cab would just be buttery and delicious. Right, off they go. So do we get... Oh no, not yet. Do we get towers? There they go. So yeah, he does go white when you shoot him and doesn't blow up. Yep. Nope, the floor ones. Still cool. Still quite a lot of slowdown. It appears the only part without slowdown is the trench. Yeah. So that your life. Yoink! How many of these do I have to shoot? To be perfectly honest, in this gameplay I should probably just concentrate on shooting the fireballs. Not worry about racking up points, although points give me, you know, deflector shields. Oh, balls. Well, I'm going to call it quits there and round up. Star Wars, the original arcade game by Atari on Synthesizer ZX Spectrum versus the Commodore 64. Yes, the Commodore 64 has better colour, I would say. Has, you know, snazzy little effects and stuff here and there. And, you know, well, yeah, it's got music. But, I mean, the sound effects are probably better too. But ultimately, it's just... marginally less slowdown on the Spectrum, but just a sharper, nicer feel to the graphics. It's not a massive amount of deal, you know, difference, but yeah, I got a cool, you know, alright, music aside, it would be nice, although they could have done that music on the 128K, let's be honest. Not as good as the SID chip, but yeah, I'm going to call Spectrum, but that's just me. And as I said, I had to do this final entry into finishing off all the Star Wars arcade games comparably on Spectrum and Commodore because I'm OCD. Anyway, as always, I'd love to know what you think, and thank you very much for watching, and I'll see you later.